Bait and switch. How about clickbait? When I say these terms, what comes to your mind? If you're like me, what comes to your mind is unfulfilled expectation, a trick. The presentation that is given to you is not fulfilled. Whether it's this idea of getting you into the store to sell you something else other than what was advertised, or the the website that needs the click, and so they pretend it's something a lot more interesting than what they actually have on the website, right? I mean, everybody's experienced this. So I'm trying to establish something here. It's deception, manipulation. I mean, obviously, this is stuff we deal with, right, as humans. I think the reason why it works is because there's something within us that wants to see the best in people. But unfortunately, or believe the best in people. But unfortunately, there seems to be a larger number of people than what I'm comfortable with that seem to be out to get you. The world is filled with evil people. I mean, it's just what it is. And I want to use the analogy of Snow White and the poison apple, because I think it is illustrative of this point I'm trying to drive home. Um, Snow White, if you remember the story, basically, the Snow White was basically just minding her own business, and the queen, the evil queen, disguised herself as an old lady with the intent of killing Snow White with a poison apple. Um, I think the thing that I'm trying to drive home here is this idea that we live in a world where people are out to manipulate us, and they're out to do it because they're evil. Um, Jesus in his day, when he walked around, he constantly had disputes with the Pharisees, and the Pharisees were the cultural elites of his day. The criticism that he had for them was hypocrisy. Hypocrisy being this, that they would put burdens on others that they would never put on themselves, restrictions, things that they don't do for themselves, and if or would never do to themselves, right? So if you think about this idea of a poison apple, the queen would never eat a poison apple, right? No, that privilege in her mind was reserved for Snow White because she had to get Snow White out of the way. Um, we deal with people like that, and I think it's important for us to not hide from this fact that, much like Jesus dealing with the Pharisees of his day, the cultural elites of his day, we have cultural elites of our day that are not interested in our well being, and in fact would prefer, some of them would prefer that we didn't even exist. And I'd go that far to even say that. I have no problem going that far because some of them say that themselves. The world is overpopulated, some of them will say. Now, they mean others, right? They don't lead by example. The people that are believe in a world that um, is too overpopulated, they don't go, I'm going to start the process and off myself, right? No, that it's the other people, that need to go. Um, Deception. These people are deceiving, these people are evil. And they come to you as something that they're not, because that's what they have to do. That's what they know they have to do. Evil doesn't just come to you and say, "Hey, I'm evil, look at me." You know? So let me read from Second Corinthians here. It says, "For such men are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. It is not surprising then if his servants masquerade as servants of righteousness. Their end will correspond to their actions." So, I mean, this is great for what's coming, right? But what do you do in the meantime? I mean, their end isn't going to be a good one, but they're still here. They're still doing what they've always done on this earth, doing evil things, manipulating people, putting things on people they would never do themselves, treating themselves greatly, and having no problem inflicting misery onto other people. The opposite of what Jesus said, right? This is why Jesus was in conflict with the Pharisees. Um, so our elites, right? This is kind of where I'm heading. Our elites are saying things to us. They're trying to get us to do things. And they say that it's good for us. You know, they have the things that are good for us. They know what's best for us. But the problem is they seem to be inconsistent in what they say. And while we're here on earth having to deal with people, I think it's important for us to try to figure out how to know whether somebody might be one of these snakes. These people who are presenting you with an apple, but it's actually poison, right? What are the characteristics? Or that's actually one characteristic that I want to sort of hone in on, and it's consistency. Consistency of application. Because this is what you will find. It goes back to this. Like I said, the wicked queen would never eat the poison apple herself. So the hypocrisy is the key to understanding this phenomenon, this type of individual. If they're overly hypocritical, if there's that inconsistency that you see, then that's a clue. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it, right? And it's the same, you know, it's the same thing starting from the very beginning, right? Because the snake, right? How do you spot the snakes? Like the snake in the garden. They come with an offer that is, they don't say, "Hey, you're going to die," right? They say, "You could be like God and live forever." It's the offer that they never they want to entice you. That's how this works. So let's see. So imagine believing that you just ate a magic apple that would protect you from a plague. But after you ate the apple, the lady said it wouldn't work as well unless you know that everyone you know also ate the apple. And then imagine that you found out that the lady who came to you didn't go to her, by the way. She comes to you. Um, that the lady was protected from any liability, from any sort of injury that might take place from people eating this special apple. And then also imagine that you found out that the lady selling the apples or giving the apples away was making a lot of money doing it. And then imagine that you found out that the castle that the lady's from is associated with the place where the plague started. Would it's at all seem like an apple you probably wouldn't want to take? I think you might be picking up what I'm laying down here. I'm talking about a certain subject that's going on right around us now. I can't really talk about it because I did a video before, and the elites, I guess I don't, uh, kind of shut it down. I'm not allowed to talk and have my opinion and give facts. So on this particular subject. So, but I think you understand what I think you might be picking up what I'm laying down here. Um, so about the consistency. So how do we? I want to talk about consistency here. How do we figure out who's being consistent? So let's talk about it this way. The advocates of our day will often accuse people like me of being science deniers. And yet these are the people who can't figure out that there's a chromosomal difference between a male and a female. Or they pretend that they don't understand how babies get here. But I'm the science denier. See, it's not it's not their it's not that they're lying. It's not that they're inconsistent. It's that these are nuanced issues. It's not a poison apple. It's not poison, it's just an apple, right? It's fine, you can eat it. The same people will talk this big game about how they hate these big corporations, but then they have no problem mandating you to actually have to get a product from one of these giant, or a few of these giant corporations. It's not economic fascism, it's just healthcare. It's not poison. It's a red delicious. See? See, if you don't do it, you're selfish. You're selfish. But the companies that say one of these companies might have made somewhere around $18 billion in 1 quarter of last year with Apple sales, that's not selfish. That's not selfish. It isn't gouging people in need. It's just capitalism. And you believe in capitalism, don't you? It's not poison, you see. It's an apple. Who doesn't like apples? Apples are natural. Have you heard my body, my choice? Remember when they cared about choice? Remember that? It was not long ago. um, see, it isn't it isn't killing a baby. It's medical decision. The medical decision. See how that works? It's not poison. It's an apple. See how that? It's an apple. And the experts, we know what they want. They want to stop the spread of this plague that's over our land. They import people from other lands here. You know, they're not they're not spreading disease. They're spreading freedom. Spreading freedom. It's not poison. It's an apple. And while we're talking about freedom, um, the same people that want us to have a piece of paper to show that we bought our apple, and if we don't, They want to lock us up or keep us out of places. These people said it was a civil rights issue to prove who you are and that you're a citizen and that you are actually able to vote in an election. That's a civil rights issue if you demand showing just an ID. That's a civil rights issue. But actually locking people up and keeping them from being civilized humans and going to places, that's not a civil rights issue. So they're not making you subservient. They're educating you and they're saving lives. It's not poison, you see. It's an apple. It's a juicy red delicious apple. The media says that we should listen to the medical experts while they ban medical experts from speaking. It's not manipulation through censorship. It's informing the public. It's not poison. It's a delicious apple. Let's review. The Queen wanted to kill Snow White for being more beautiful than she, even though the Queen was plenty beautiful herself. See, what this tells me is it doesn't take much to become the target of evil. Just being good is enough. See how you think about it this way. I bet many rich people, even though they have plenty of money, wouldn't have a problem at all taking what little some other person who had way less than they did has, taking what they have. Snow White would never have expected the Queen even knew who she was, much less wanted her dead. The elites are after us whether or not we know it. They may not want us dead, but they probably don't care if we die. But they are definitely interested in manipulating, controlling us. The Queen comes as a feeble old woman. Evil does not appear as evil to you. It always comes as something else. The danger is not going to appear as a danger. The powerful person is going to come as weak. They want you to drop your defenses. The non-expert is going to come and say, they're the genius. You should listen to them. They know. You don't know. They know. The Queen offers a magic wishing apple. The offer is also a trick. So they come in a presentation, in a form that's a trick, but what they actually say to you is also a trick. The poison will be offered as a poison. It's magic, you see. It's got something you need, something you want. That's the trick. It's the Faustian deal. Now, listen, I'm not saying, and you may get the wrong idea, I'm not saying the apple's poison. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's something afoot. There's something going on, right? People don't just show up at your door, strangers that you don't know, demanding things of you. blackmailing you to force you to take a gift. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. What is the apple? What is it? I don't know.